What's up, witches? What's up? What's up? What's up? I know you've been waiting. I had to reset my poll. I put the poll up, the poll that we use to choose which deck we want to pull a support card from. I had to redo it. I don't know why it didn't save. I put it up when I first made the live last week, and then it disappeared. So I had to redo it. Okay. Just making sure everything's all set. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? What's up? Is everything still the same? Yes. Okay, it looks like it didn't change anything. Happy Friday. Hi, Mariah. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Betty. Hi, Cami Bay. Hi, Janine. What's up, guys? Oh, hey. Oh, you're helping a friend move? Oh, you are a real friend right there. That's like the hardest thing to do for a friend. You can hear everything. You can see everything. Okay, thank you, Brittany. Awesome. What's up, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are we? What's going on? You know what I'm really curious about, because I don't know anything about analytics and all of that fancy internet stuff, but can you guys tell me where you are in the world? Because there's information on YouTube, but it's very vague, and I don't know if that's just everybody who subscribes to this channel, or if that represents the people who actually tune in on a regular basis. So yeah, drop in the comments where you are right now, so that I know where you guys are, because I'm curious. But what's going on? What's up? Welcome to the live tarot reading for the collective. This is a live reading for this current new moon that we are in, or that we are entering. I think it is tonight. I'm supposed to write that down, I think, but I didn't. All right. Portland, Oregon, Pennsylvania, DC, Northern California, Toronto, Canada, Hampton, Virginia. What's up, Virginia? In the house. That's a new one. We're all over. Wow. Canada, California, Oregon, Alabama. Hey, Alabama in the house. What's up? So we've got down south. I was like, where's the down south delegation? The down south delegation has reported in from Alabama. Illinois, very cool. Midwest, checking in. We're literally all over the place. That's so cool. And that's awesome, because nobody here said New York. Yes, it is a solar eclipse. We're going to talk about that. Nobody said New York, which is cool, because on the YouTube thing, it makes it seem like everybody who watches, or most people who tune in, are from New York. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. But then I didn't know if it was true. See, not true. Not so true. Very, very cool. So yeah, welcome, everybody. June isn't here yet. Yeah, that's right. June is our New York representative, Bronxite, fellow Bronxite. Hopefully they're tuning in at some point, but welcome, everyone. If this is your first time here, this is the collective reading for the new moon phase that we are entering into. This is a live tarot reading, so I won't be taking personal questions, but I will be pulling cards for the collective to give us an idea of what to expect for this new moon. If you are new around here, we used to do this every week during the height of the quarantine. We got started in early 2020, and this has been a safe space, a fun space, a really awesome space for us to come together and receive messages from Spirit to help plan our week and just kind of get prepared for the energies that are to come. Now that the world is prayerfully moving forward out of all of this, quarantine business, people are starting to get back to whatever their new normal is. We are now meeting every new moon and every full moon. So a little bit different, but this way we can prepare for the upcoming moon phase. And working on the moon phases is not something that everyone does, but it is something that I do. It's very important to my practice. I really feel the different phases of the moon very much in my body. I see the energies of those shifts show up in my life. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to. I've got my Yoni fan on today, guys. So yeah. I remember it today. So I do a lot of my magical practice on the moon phases, and I just feel like the energy of the cosmos, at least the cosmos close to us, is really impacted by the phases of the moon. So it made sense to start doing these readings on the moon phases so that we can prepare for them together, and just have an idea of like how we could best utilize that time and utilize that energy. So that's what we'll be doing today here. If you have personal questions and you would like a private reading from me, you can always schedule that with me. I am reporting live from BronxWitch HeadQuarters. This is our new office space in the South Bronx. So we now have a physical location for all of our witching and whatnot. And so if you would like a private reading with me, have a virtual one online, but you can also come to headquarters and get a private reading in person. We'll talk, we'll have tea, we'll get into whatever you are dealing with, and we'll pull cards to get the tea on your situation. So you can do that. You can also come here for Reiki sessions. You can come here for Yoni steam sessions and sound bowl treatments. So there's a lot of amazing stuff going on at headquarters. And we're like fully up and running. So if you are interested in stopping by, just go to bronxwitch.com and you can book an appointment and come on by. Hello. What's up? Hi, Dolores. Hi, Siwa. Hi, Lady Leo. Hi, Pisces Bambina. That's a new one from West Virginia. Cool. I feel like I never meet people from West Virginia. That's really cool. Welcome. I am going to put this over here. Well, it's still going to blow on me. Wait, hold on. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Better. All right. Welcome. Much love to you too. So yeah, that's what we do here. That is what we do when we gather. I will start off, I guess, with a couple of announcements. I wrote down my notes this time, guys. I was like slightly more prepared this time. So I have notes so I don't forget anything. And so I don't get distracted, because you know how I get distracted with these comments. So what is there to talk about? First of all, I want to say welcome to all of the new members. Welcome. If you don't know, you can become a member of this channel. And when you do so, there are a lot of different perks and things that you get, as well as access to 2 groups that I've started. We have the Witches of Color support group, which is a space for BIPOC witches to come together and just be, honestly. As people of color, we don't often have spaces where we can do that, and that is what the Witches of Color support group is for. It's a space for us to just talk about anything that we want to talk about that is unique to being a person of color or to being a witch and or both. And we have a really good time in those sessions, and we do a lot of healing in those sessions, I think. So that is one of the groups that you may be able to gain access to with your membership. And then we have the Bronx Witch Book Club, which is our awesome book club. We read 1 book every 2 months, so it's totally not overwhelming at all. It's just half a book a month. And then we come together every month in a Zoom session and we talk about the book. And I want to say thank you to everybody who came to our last Zoom session, because we're currently reading Manifestation Magic by Elohim Lafar. And I was able to get Elohim to come to our meeting and answer questions for us and talk about writing the book and his inspiration for the book and all that good stuff. So that was really, really cool. I'm definitely going to try to do that more in the future. So I'm going to try to, get the author of the book to come to our Zooms and talk to us a little bit about it. So, hopefully I can pull it off and get more authors to meet up with us because it was a lot of fun. Yeah, Janine said it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think it adds a whole different perspective to have the author, actually come in and talk a little bit about their thoughts on the book. I think it helps a lot. So that was really cool. If you are already a Seeker member and you didn't get a chance to tune into tune into the Zoom when we met at the end of last month, then the recording is up on YouTube, but it's only available for Seeker members. So it's called Manifestation Magic, and it's 21 rituals for abundance and prosperity. So it's mostly centered on how to manifest abundance and prosperity in your life and different ways to do it. Yeah, Josie said it brought the book to life. I think that's really a good way to put it, because when you hear Elohim, he has an accent, a lovely accent. He's from Venezuela, and so exotic. And now when I read the book, I read it in his accent because I got to hear him actually talk about it. So it really does bring it to life. Yeah, no problem, Jamie. Yeah, the recording is up in case you, because I don't think you were able to. Oh no, you came in later in the session, so if you want to see the beginning, it's up for you. Yeah, Betty's like, yeah, I'm reading it in his accent now. So welcome to all the new members, and welcome to all of the new members of the mailing list as well. Joining mailing list is something that, like, I don't know. I think most people are like, oh, I don't want to join a mailing list. I don't want to be spammed. But I definitely recommend joining my mailing list because I don't spam you. I send out like 1 or 2 emails every month. But it's a really good way to know everything that's happening in BronxWitch and BronxWitch Bodega world without having to worry about whether or not you missed a post or you didn't catch a live or anything like that. So I definitely recommend getting on the mailing list. You can do that at bronxwitch.com as well. Just go to the memberships page and you can find out more information about memberships and also join the mailing list. So I need some herbal remedies for morning sickness, and it's not me. I was about to say Irene. For morning sickness. Interesting. Okay, so basically dealing with nausea, vomiting, fatigue, things like that. Yeah, that's a tricky one because morning sickness is a result of the pregnancy that's happening, so it's a little bit different from just like being nauseous or fatigued generally, and you really want to talk to your doctor about anything that you take, even herbal supplements, when you're pregnant, just to be extra careful. I'm a big fan of mint, and I feel like mint is fairly safe for pretty much anybody. So I would go with something really mellow and really nourishing. If you're asking about my teas, in that world, I would recommend Basic Bish. Okay. Basic Bish is it's made with nettle and spearmint and lemon balm, and I find mint to be really soothing, especially when your stomach is upset. And nettle is full of vitamins and minerals, and really nourishing. So if you are throwing up and maybe not getting all of your nutrients because you can't keep anything down, then nettle can really kind of help support you through that. You need a spell to block the negative energy intentions of another witch. Okay. Maybe someone has some recommendations for you. I think one of the best things that you can do for blocking energies is to always have your daily protection rituals and your regular cleansing rituals, which I recommend to do weekly. So a specific spell, I don't know the details of the situation, so I can't say, or your tradition, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I used to do consultations for those types of things, and I haven't gotten back to those because I'm so busy with the shop and with the headquarters and things like that. But in the future, I hope to get back to doing consultations so people can sit down with me, to talk about stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, the best thing that you can do to block any negative energy is a regular protection ritual that you do daily. For me, it's a protection prayer and a protection oil that I make for myself that I wear every day, and various amulets that I have enchanted, and I pretty much wear them every single day, everywhere I go. And they're different charms to protect against different things, like the evil eye, protects against the evil eye. Got a cross here and a key that's for Hecate, and Ganesha opens the roads and keeps me from stumbling over my own shit, which is good. And then cleansing. Every week or so, I am taking a cleansing bath to get rid of anything that might be stuck to me, anything that that I might have picked up along the way, or things like that. It's not for me, it's to protect someone else. Yeah, maybe folks in the comments have something general that they can share with you. Thank you, Irene. I appreciate it. These were did I buy these or were they a gift? They might have been a gift from Azukar8 on Instagram. She is actually the lovely soul that made my waist beads. I'll give you a little peek at my waist beads here. So she made my waist beads, and I believe she gifted me these earrings with my order. So thank you so much. I love them too. What else do I want to tell you guys? I want to, Josie says, burn a black candle and send that crap back to them. That is definitely an idea for sure. I love that YouTube held that comment just because you said crap. Like, YouTube, calm down, okay? YouTube is like a granny. It blocks like everything. Crap, really? Yeah, so this is my take on it, and I definitely think, Josie, that is certainly an option. Banishing the energy and doing a return to sender type of situation is definitely an option if you feel like you are under psychic attack, magical from another witch. Personally, I am not the biggest fan of sending energy back, because I feel like what happens is then you sometimes get into like a ping pong situation. Because if the person who is sending energy to you is in fact a witch and they are doing it intentionally, they are probably going to be preparing themselves for that scenario of that energy being reversed and redirected back to them. So I like to instead really make sure that my protective shield is strong and active and fed every day, and that I am regularly cleansing myself of anything that might be sent my way, stuck to my direction, kind of thing. So I think that's really, really useful. Also, I'm actually about to drop a video on Tuesday, which is a book review of a new book called True Magic by Jaha Mikaharik. I like it. I have some issues with it, but overall I like it. And the best part of the book, I think, are the first 2 chapters, which are on protection spells and reversal spells. So I would definitely take a look at that book. There's a lot of good material in there for how to do some very simple reversals of energy, if that's what you're looking to do, but also some really good protection spells. And then that same author, Jaha Mikaharik, has another book that you've probably seen around called Spiritual Cleansing, which is also very, very useful. So if you're trying to figure out how to start doing cleansing baths, what you should put in them, what different baths are good for, and what types of energies they're best at removing, and things like that, those 2 books I would definitely recommend. How do you keep the cleansing bath stuff from going down the tub drain? You want it to go down the tub drain. Unless you mean like you don't want to clog your bathtub. If you mean like you don't want to clog your bath, well, okay, so I strain my baths. This is personal. Not everybody does it this way. Hi, June. Welcome. Mariah was just talking about you because everybody was shouting out where they're from, and we had no New York representation, but now we do. So I strain my baths. I don't actually pour it over me with all the herbs and stuff in it. All of that is in it while it is being charged, while it's sitting under candlelight, while it's getting prayed over, while my hands are in it, pulling out all of those properties and everything like that. But then before I use it, I strain everything out. So I don't use it in the tub. If you don't want to strain it out and you pour it over you with everything in it, then I would just say, just like a drain thingy, like one of those drain catchers. I have one in my kitchen sink, catches all the veggies and stuff. Bronx in the house. Yes, June. Thank you. We needed to round it out. Everybody was like from all over the country, but no New York. And then Josie's got a good idea, which is to put the herbs in a mesh bag. You can definitely do that too. Basically make yourself a big old pot of tea. Because that's kind of what you're doing anyway. So yeah. By the way, I'm drinking Woke Up Like This. It's one of my teas. And also this is my crystal tea infuser. This is an amethyst one. Can you guys see that? Isn't it pretty? I love these crystal tea infusers so much. It's so nice to be drinking your tea and be able to like hold on to the crystal. It's so nice meditating and like upping the whole tea experience. Single wife feminine vibes. Yeah, so for something like that where like somebody's coming over and you just feel like you don't like their energy, they're not a practicing witch necessarily or that you know of, and they're not necessarily directing energy to you, protection and cleansing. It's really a lot of the things that we do as witches isn't like a whole production. It doesn't require a whole special spell and all of that stuff at all. Protection, you want to pray over your home, depending on what your tradition is. A psalm from the Bible might be a good choice for you. A pagan prayer might be a good choice for you. But praying in your home before the person arrives is a good idea. I like black salt. Oh, can I reach it? I keep black salt with me everywhere I go. I have some in my home, here in my office. And if I feel like there are undesirable entities around or things like that, then I will, sprinkle black salt right in front of my doorway and on my windowsill. If you have a house, you could go like around your property, but I'm in like an office, so outside the doorway and on the windowsills to try to keep anything that they might be bringing with them away. Sometimes it will actually drive the person away, which is really nice. If the person's really low vibrational and they're really the problem, they'll get to your doorway and be like, oh my God, I totally forgot something. I'm so sorry. I have to go, or I have to leave early. They'll come over and they won't feel comfortable and they want to leave early. And so prayer, black salt is useful to have around your property. If you practice hoodoo, then you might go with something more like red brick dust, but a protective powder or herb in your space is helpful. And then when the person leaves, cleanse your space down completely and cleanse yourself. So physically clean your space and physically clean yourself with the shower and sweeping, mopping your floor, all that good stuff. And then cleanse the space and cleanse yourself. So a cleansing bath for yourself. And then however you choose to cleanse your space, you might cleanse your space with sage or some other type of burning herb that is good for that. And if you like to work with the properties of fire and air, you might prefer earth and water. And so you might make a floor wash that you can use to mop down the floors and all the surfaces, windowsills, door frames, all of that after they're gone. So yeah, protection and cleansing. I haven't done a video on making black salt, but I definitely should, because my black salt recipe is really special. It was made with the help of Hikate. She basically walked me through the whole process, and it's very special. It's definitely not just your basic black salt recipe. So yeah, I should get around to that at some point. I will, for sure. But you can also find basic recipes online. Black salt is basically just the burnt ashes of protective herbs. People use different herbs, but I like to use sage, rosemary, and rue. I find them to be really protective. So I burn those down on charcoal, and I take the burnt herb and the charcoal, and I mix it in with coarse sea salt. And that's pretty much it. Like for a basic recipe. There's other stuff in mine, but yeah. Yeah. It's good to have. Good to have. Hey, Anthony, welcome. It's so nice to have you. Welcome, welcome. I don't sell it in the shop. No, I get that question a lot about a lot of the things that I make for myself. It takes me kind of a long time to go from like making stuff for myself to selling it. So I'll have to pray on that one, because, like I said, Hikate helped me with that personally, and I'll have to check in and see if it's the type of thing that I should be like making for other people. But making a video on how I did it is probably fine, but selling it, I'm not so sure. We shall see. My shop focuses mostly on herbal medicines. That's really what I feel called to make for people and to offer to people, especially here in my community. I don't know that, the folks of the South Bronx are like really in need of black salt too much. But definitely we're in need of herbal medicine and more education on the healing powers of herbs and using that as alternatives to other ways. So I'm trying to focus more on the herbs, which is why I'm no longer making my magical spell soap like readily available in the shop. So definitely, if you want to grab some of my magical spell soap, I would do that. It's selling out, and once I'm sold out with the batches that I made last month, I'm not going to be making more the way I used to. So if I feel called spiritually to make one of the soaps, I feel like there's a need for it, I feel like the energy out there calls for it, then I'll make a batch and I'll let people know about it. But otherwise, it's not going to be just available in the shop the way my teas and my smoke blends and my steams are just available. So keep that in mind. If you really like my spell soap, or if you haven't gotten a chance to get a bar of it, I would definitely grab it. All right. Recipe videos would be great. Oh, good point, Irene. Yeah. I could definitely do recipe videos for members only, for sure, especially the recipes that are like personal to me. Yeah, I would definitely feel comfortable sharing it with you guys, for sure. The membership group is small still, and like I know all of you. So, I would definitely make it for you guys. Thank you. That's a really good idea. That'll probably actually get that video made faster. Then I'll feel more comfortable sharing it. Yeah. Yes. Anything you can make for yourself, do it. Do it. I think that's also one of the reasons why I haven't been in a rush to like make videos on how I make stuff, because how I make stuff is how I make stuff. And I feel like, I'm really grateful that I started witching so many years ago when there wasn't so much information, because sometimes I think too much information can be overwhelming, and it distracts you from checking in with your people, with your ancestors and your guides and your guardians, and checking in with them and letting them help you get to the best recipe for you, as opposed to trying to find it in a book or find it, online. So that's a really good tip, Jamie. Yeah, a nice cleansing candle right at the front door. That's awesome. Yeah, I would definitely do that. That's super cool. for sure. You can also put a protective talisman or a protective mojo bag on the back of your door, like on the inside of the door. So when you open, they have to walk past it. I used to have a cinnamon broom on the outside of my door for like that very same reason. Cinnamon is very protective. Yeah, your practice has to feel right to you. I agree. So I will let you guys know the next thing is at the Bodega. My shop opens up tomorrow at 12 noon. So a lot of you already know the deal. The last week of every month, I close down the Bodega so I can remake everything because I remake everything every month. So I shut it down. That gives me time to remake everything. That's what I'll be doing probably until late tonight because I'm running behind. But I'll be remaking all of the blends, restocking everything. Crystal pipes are in. I know you guys have been waiting on that for the smoke blends. I was running really low on crystal pipes and it was taking a while because like customs and like blah, blah, blah. But I got my crystal pipes. So those are going to be restocked. Crystal tea infusers for your tea are fully restocked. I've got more yoni eggs, and I've got now 3 different sizes of the rose quartz yoni eggs. So now instead of just small and medium, there's also small, medium, and large. And I have a very, very special thing that I'm going to be dropping in the shop, a holiday tea tin gift set. For the holidays, it's a beautiful celestial tea tin for holding your loose tea, and a crystal tea infuser, and a package of herbal tea, all in a set with gift wrapping and all that stuff for the holidays. And I only have 6 of those. I only have 6 total. So you guys heard it first. And if you are on the mailing list, you're going to get an email tonight with pictures and everything so you can see exactly what everything looks like. They're gorgeous. Spoiler alert. They're adorable. I really want to keep one, but I only have 6, so I have to let them go. And my supplier does not have more. Like, I got those 6 and then I got them in the mail and I was like, oh my God, these are so amazing. I definitely want to have these in the shop. And I went back and they were gone because they're so cute. So if you think that's something that you would like, I would definitely join the mailing list at bronxwitch.com. That way you can see what they look like tonight and decide if that's right for you. And then the shop opens at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. I would not wait on these. 6 total. Like, not 6 of each, 6 total. So definitely be at the shop at exactly noon so that you can grab it. It'll be shipped out next week, so you'll definitely get it in time for Christmas, or it'll get to whoever you're gifting it to in time for Christmas. And I do not expect them to last beyond like the weekend. So heads up about that. Do I make herbal brooms? No. I would go to bronxwitch.com and click on Bodega and check out the shop, because even though the shop is closed, you can still see everything that's in it, and kind of prepare for what things you might want to purchase when it reopens tomorrow. Yes. Christmas teas, for sure. Yeah, you get to choose your tea, which is awesome. So you get the tea tin. It comes with a tea infuser, and I like matched up the crystal with the color of the tea tin. And then you get to choose what tea comes in the gift set. So it's pretty nice. And if my supplier gets more and people like it, I'll definitely do it again. But yeah, I was only able to snag 6 before they sold out. So heads up. Heads up. Hey, it's Joey here again. What's up, love? What else? What else? Yeah, so let's get into like reading mode a little bit here and talk a little bit about the astrology of what is going on. Betty already mentioned some of it. Do I ship to Texas? Yes, of course. I ship all over the United States. And you can find all of that once again on bronxwitch.com. Just click on Bodega and you can still shop the shop and see the policies and all that information on there. All right. And I thank you for your interest and excitement about the shop update. Okay. Astrology. Why do we talk about astrology? If you are new to this corner of the internet, We talk about astrology because, as above, so below. Everyone has their own view on the weight in which astrological transits, impact Earth, impact our lives, all of that stuff. Thank you, my love. For me, I have found that what is happening in the cosmos shows up in my actual everyday life. And this is something that I came to the realization of as a bartender, slanging drinks for 15 years here in New York City. I was a bartender for the longest time. And I always noticed, and this is not just me, this is something that we say in the hospitality industry all the time. I don't think it's just in New York, I think it's all over. When there is a full moon, the shift is always weird. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or that something terrible happened, but it's always off. It's like they feel the effects of the full moon, even though they don't realize that that's what's happening. And the whole energy of the night was always different on a full moon. And for me, it wasn't necessarily like negative, but it was overwhelming. And I could feel myself feel different on the full moon. This is something I didn't notice at first. Then when I started paying attention to the moon phases more when I was like, early 20s, I was like, oh man, I totally notice that on the full moon, I feel different. I feel off. I feel really emotional. I feel a little out of control and out of sorts. And everybody else seems to be feeling it too. And shit just gets weird. Money would disappear, or like your regulars who normally are totally well behaved would get like shit faced and act up, and just things that typically never would happen on the full moon. So I started paying more attention to that and started being able to like prepare for it. And I started wearing a moonstone. And when I started wearing that moonstone on the full moons, I noticed that I felt so much better. I felt so much more regulated. I felt way less like emotionally all over the place. And I felt protected from everybody else's emotional crap and the stuff that was going on. And prior to that, this was probably like 24, 25-ish that I started doing this. I never really thought about astrology. It just seemed like way too complicated to like pay any attention to it. So I just never really cared about it, even though I was a practicing witch. The only thing I ever thought about was like, oh, okay, if it's the full moon, it might be good to do something like this. But I never really thought about it seriously, and I never thought about the other planets or anything else. Paying attention to how my bar shifts would go is what brought me to caring about what happens astrologically. Now, there's a whole cosmos out there, so there's a ton of shit happening astrologically at any given time. I tend to focus in on what's going on with the moon and the sun. That's just me. Everything else, it's very overwhelming to try to like pay attention to all the retrogrades and Mercury's and this, and it's a lot. It is a lot. So I follow some astrologers. I'm not an astrologer. I follow some astrologers that I really like, and I try to stay on top of just having a general idea of what is going on energetically, astrologically, so that I can just be prepared for it. But I'm not sitting there like committing to memory these things or anything like that. I did have my own birth chart, done. You can go on free websites and have your birth chart done, and that's really helpful because the energies that are happening astrologically impact each and every person differently, and your particular birth chart determines how it really impacts you. So we can talk about the energies in general, but if you want to have a better idea of how a certain transit will affect your life, then you want to look at your birth chart and see where those planets and where those signs show up in your personal life to have a better idea of how those things might apply to you specifically. So I definitely recommend doing that. There are a bunch of free websites where you can do that. And if you find an astrologer that you like, get a birth chart reading with them. That's really helpful. I have a friend who is not like a professional, but she's very much called to the astrological, and she reads birth charts just to do it. She actually makes skincare. She's in pharmaceuticals, but she makes skincare. But she thinks about like how your astrological makeup might impact like your acne or your skin issues. It's really fascinating how the two relate. And I had her do a reading for me, and it was unbelievable. So definitely go deeper into the astrological aspect of your own life and of what's happening in the cosmos, because I do think that it will be only helpful for you in your life. We are just going to touch generally on the basics of what's going on right now. Coming up tomorrow, I think. Who wants to be the star student and give me the exact time and day? I feel like it's in the middle of the night tonight. It's like 2:40 or something in the morning is when the moon is new. But somebody find out. Yeah, but so we have a new moon in Sagittarius coming up, I believe, in the middle of the night tonight is when it's exactly new. And then what's exciting about this new moon is it is also a solar eclipse. So we are in eclipse season. I think this is the last one of eclipse season, I believe. I think the full moon coming up in a couple of weeks is not an eclipse. So I think we're done with this stretch of eclipses. Is that the plural for eclipse? Eclipses? Maybe. So we will be out of eclipse season, I think. But yeah, it's a solar eclipse. And this new moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. So you would want to see in what degree Sagittarius, and then pull your birth chart and look to see where Sagittarius shows up in your life, what house Sagittarius is in your life, and see how those energies might impact you. When it comes to the new moon, typically we witches are focused in on manifestation. 2:42 a.m. Yes, thank you. I knew it was in the middle of the night tonight. So typically we are focused in on manifestation when it comes to the new moon. The idea being that the moon is, first there's the dark of the moon, which is right before the moon is new. So completely no moon in the sky whatsoever. And then the new moon, we have just the tiniest sliver of the moon, the crescent moon beginning to show, and that waxes and grows and grows and grows until we get to our full moon in a couple of weeks. So this energy is said to be really conducive to manifesting something, because you basically start with that little sliver, that little seed, that little idea, and then it grows and grows as you continue to put your energy into it, and hopefully it culminates by the end of the phase when the moon is full, or oftentimes things in our lives take longer than a moon phase to actually come fully to fruition. But the idea is to get it started when the moon is new, so that you can use that increasing lunar energy over the next couple of weeks to really feed into what it is that you are trying to grow, to create, to call into your life. The new moon in Sagittarius is, for me, a really good time to focus on travel. And I think it's so interesting that the new moon in Sagittarius always falls in December, because a lot of people are traveling at that time of year because we're going into the holidays. So we are thinking about our travel plans. We're considering whether or not to travel. We're, making our arrangements. We're booking our flights. We're doing all of that stuff. Sagittarius energy is a very adventurous energy. Very concerned with learning more, experiencing more, seeing new places, learning new things, and traveling outside of the norm. And this can be literal physical traveling, or this can be, mental traveling, spiritual traveling, where you are going beyond where you currently are by gathering more information, learning new things, experiencing new things. You can travel culinarily by trying new foods from, outside of your region or outside of your culture. You can travel spiritually by, astral traveling, perhaps traveling with the use of psychedelics and traveling in a mental, spiritual way. So Sagittarius is very much about that travel energy for me. And everyone that I know who's a Sagittarius loves to travel. So usually I would be using the new moon in Sagittarius to perhaps manifest a trip. So if I wanted to travel at the end of the month for the holidays, this might be a good time to manifest the flight, manifest the money that I need to make the trip, manifest the time off, etc. Whatever it is I needed to to support that goal of wanting to travel. However, this is an eclipse, which is not always the case. We don't always have an eclipse on the new moon in Sagittarius, but we do this time. And like I said last session, when we were talking about the eclipse, I know we always want to be casting, but I really don't feel it for eclipse time. I do not cast anything when there is an eclipse. The energy does not, it's not that it feels wrong to me. Some people say that if you cast during an eclipse, you might get like the reverse outcome. It's never really felt like that to me, though I'm not discrediting that. That might be what actually happens to people, but that's not what I feel for me. What it more feels like is like, imagine you are powering something and you have it plugged in. And then all of a sudden, there's like an electrical outage that happens for a brief period of time. Chances are all of your devices that were connected to that outlet turned off. And when they turn back on, they're not going to turn back on the way they were before they got turned off. Everything needs to reboot and reset. The clock might go to 12 and have to be reset. You know what I mean? The Wi-Fi password might need to be updated. Like all of the stuff that was plugged into that energy source not only turns off for a while and you don't have the energy to get things done, but it also doesn't come back in the exact same place that it was in before. So that's how I feel about eclipse energy. Not eclipse energy, like eclipses turning off the energy. It's like it cuts off that flow of energy from the sun or from the moon, depending on the type of eclipse. And that causes like a blip, where there's like not enough energy to do what you're trying to do, to power what you're trying to do. And then when everything comes back and the eclipse passes, it's like everything needs to be reset. So if you had set an intention before the eclipse and then all that energy gets cut off, you need to redo it. And it's like, who wants to cast the same spell 3 days later? You might as well just wait. So that's how it feels for me. So I don't cast on the eclipses. I wait until they are done, and then I reset myself. I reset myself with a cleansing bath. I reset my altars. I refill things. I reset everything, so that everything is the way I need it to be. I'm not going to assume that the way I left everything and the energy that I left before the eclipse is going to just pick up right back where it was, if that makes sense. So I need to, redo my prayers, refresh the offerings that I give to the different spirits that I may be calling on and things like that, and kind of start fresh. And then I can put my intention out into the universe and say, okay, now that everybody's back on track, the clock is back to the right time. Everything has been recalibrated and reset. I've been recalibrated and reset. Let me let you know what's up. Here's what I want to manifest. I really want to travel at the end of the month. I want to make that happen. Help me make that happen. So that's kind of how I think about it. Yeah, I went vegan in September for my sadhana, and I've been doing a pretty good job of keeping it up, and it changes the game. It changes the game. But you know what? Maybe consider starting after the eclipse. Maybe consider starting after the eclipse, because there might be that cutoff of that energy might kind of mess with your clear direction in that for that goal. So I would start after the eclipse, like wholeheartedly. which doesn't mean like spend the weekend like eating steaks. But what I like to do on an eclipse is I like to use that time. That's okay. That's okay. It's totally fine if you started already. Not a problem at all. That's great. I'm not saying don't do anything, but I'm just saying, like, if you're casting spells and things like that. If you are thinking about starting, um, if you are thinking about embarking on a journey, then don't feel pressure to like cast any magic about it because it's the new moon. The new moon phase lasts for a few days and then it's still waxing, for 2 weeks. So I would wait until like Monday or Tuesday and reset yourself, take a cleansing bath, and I would spend the weekend instead getting mentally prepared for what you are going to do and how you are going to get started after the eclipse is over. Why do some people feel like doing spell work during a solar eclipse is bad? I kind of just explained that, I think. I don't know, Amethyst, you might have just gotten here, so you might have to kind of rewatch, but I sort of just explained why. It's not that it's bad. I just explained why I don't do it, and why I feel like the energy that I need to manifest what I want isn't really free flowing. And yes, and that I need a reset, and all the energies in my space need a reset. So that's what I would recommend. I am no one's teacher. I'm just letting you guys know what I do, and it works well for me like this. I haven't had any issues with this. I've never gotten to the end of an eclipse, for an example, and cast something afterwards and been like, oh, I should have started 2 days ago when the eclipse was happening. Like, that has never happened. It has always felt really good to let that energy pass and use that time to go inward, be introspective, be reflective, think about what it is I'm going to do, maybe collect ingredients. That's a great thing to do for the casting that you are going to do. You might want to prepare things, find your ingredients, things like that. You might make stuff, make an incense blend or make a powder or what have you in preparation for the actual casting. That's a great thing to do during the eclipse. But yeah, I save the actual casting if I'm going to be casting anything. I'm not always casting spells, guys. The actual casting for after that energy, personally. And congratulations to you on starting your vegan journey. It's worth it. I'm telling you, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. I have been kind of on the fence about it for a long time, mostly for my own like health reasons. I consider myself to be a pretty health aware individual, health conscious person, because I understand that my health is my wealth and it's the greatest asset that I have. And I believe that God has blessed us with everything that we need to keep ourselves healthy and to take care of ourselves if we simply educate ourselves and are willing sometimes to do a little bit more work, a little bit more effort. And so that matters a lot to me. And I have like anemia and, other issues and things that I felt like, for those reasons, I felt like eliminating meat completely from my diet was something that I didn't want to do. I had no good reason for not eliminating dairy. It's just that cheese. My God, come on. It's just so freaking good. I mean, so that was just an excuse. I just didn't want to give up cheese. But when it came to like certain things like bone broth and like beef pho, which is like my favorite dish ever, I was like, I'm anemic, I need it. But turns out not so much. My anemia is not really something that can be helped with eating more red meat. It's a whole other situation. So once I learned that, got the right blood test to realize that, and I was like, you know what? No more excuses. I'm going to cut meat out, stop blaming it on my anemia, and just admit that like I am not ready to make this type of a sacrifice. And when I did, big things came my way. So I wish you lots of luck with that and congratulations. I think that's cool. I know it's the dairy that really makes it hard. It wasn't even to not eat meat. Like that wasn't really a big deal for me. It was the dairy. I was like, but mozzarella, but feta. You know what? And I could not have been vegan 20 years ago. No way. Even 10 years ago. No way. Nowadays, though, I go to the supermarket. I have vegan feta. I have vegan mozzarella. I have vegan cream cheese. You know, you got to be careful with all the soy and stuff. But there are vegan alternatives to pretty much everything at this point. So, yeah, I've been using jackfruit instead of beef and it's great. It's amazing. It's delicious. Trader Joe's has this really good meatless meat, this meatless ground beef. You would never know the difference. So, yeah, totally doable nowadays. So, and it has been a blessing for me. It's definitely made things better for me. So that's personal. Yeah, so like I said, new moon in Sagittarius with the solar eclipse. This energy is really good for going inward, planning how you're going to manifest your next travel move, the next thing that you are going to do to expand yourself outside of your typical surroundings, whether that's literally by traveling somewhere or whether that's more metaphorically in terms of traveling academically with your studies or traveling culinarily with your food or traveling astrally, you know, in the astral realms with the use of psychedelics or astral projection exercises and things like that. So this weekend will be a good time to think about that and then get started on it after the eclipse has passed. I definitely recommend a cleansing bath after the eclipse has passed. Lady Leo says, never going vegan. Hey, I support you in your personal choices. All right. So that's the astrology, and obviously a million other things are going on. It's Sagittarius season. I think Venus is retrograding at the end of the month, something like that. Yo no sé. Pull your birth chart, follow an astrologer. Okay. But for me, the moon has a big impact on my life. So that's what's going on with the moon and the sun right now. So let's get into it, guys. If you have just come into the room, this is the New Moon Collective Tarot reading for everyone who is watching and everyone who might tune into this video in the future. I am going to pull some cards to give us an idea of how we can prepare for this energy and also utilize this energy to, really best benefit us and help us out. At the end of this reading, after I pull cards, I will pull one more card from a support deck to support us on that journey. So the cards will reveal to us what we should be focusing on for the next 2 weeks. And then we like to ask Spirit for a card to help us, help support us in that work. So if you check the poll, which is at the top of the comments, and you will see that there are 4 different decks that you can choose from. There is the Botanist deck, which is a deck that channels flower energy. We have the Herb Crafters Tarot deck, which channels herb energy. We have the Words as Wands deck, which is a spells and rituals deck. I know that you guys always love to pick that one. And then there is the Archetype cards by Carolyn Mize, and those are really great for light and shadow work. Those cards basically tell us what aspects of ourselves we need to be working on, and sometimes the message hits kind of hard, Ooh, we've got some Sag moons in here. Very cool. To better understand how the new moon in Sagittarius might affect you personally, definitely obviously take into consideration, wherever Sagittarius is in your life, but definitely check the houses. Check the houses that the moon is in, or those signs and all that stuff, because the house tells you what area of your life might be impacted. So, all right. Let's get into it. Today I am going to pull an oracle card, as always, from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle deck, my only oracle deck. And I am also going to be pulling from, we are back to the Rachel True deck, you guys, the True Heart deck. That was what I was feeling today. I feel like I haven't pulled, I may not have used these like since our last reading, which is kind of crazy. And I was like, I miss you. I miss you, deck. I love you so much. So I'm going to pull an oracle card, which will first give us a general idea of the energy for this moon phase, and then we'll pull some specific cards with some specific questions. This being the new moon, I am most interested in asking Spirit, first and foremost, what is it that we should be manifesting over the next 2 weeks or even over the next month? How can we use that energy to bring something new into our life? How can we use that energy to help us to travel beyond where we are, either physically or otherwise? I'm interested in knowing what we should let go of, because it always sort of feels like in order to bring things into our lives, we need to put something down, put something out of the way. So what should we be letting go of? And then what can we call into our lives? And all that good stuff, and how we can like really use the eclipse in particular and the moment of pause to really benefit us. So we'll be asking Spirit some of those questions. So. I just want to take a second to give honor and thanks to our ancestors, our guides, guardians, our angels, and spirits for being with us. I ask them to communicate with us clearly through the cards. If there are any messages that they have been trying to get to us, each and every one of us respectively, now is a great time to make those messages known. And I want to thank everyone who is here today and everyone who watches this video later. I encourage you to take the message that resonates with you. If you get that moment of feeling like, is that about me? It's probably for you. So make sure you listen good, take notes, come back to this video, really take those messages to heart. And if something feels like it's not for you, then leave it for the next person to take it with them. So mote it be. All right, guys. I'm feeling bell ringing. Hopefully that didn't fuck everybody's ears up. From the microphone. Your son is a Sag. My husband's a Sag. Today is on Monday, and we are going to a concert on Sunday for his birthday. Going to see Toby Nwigwe. If you don't know, get into it. Toby Nwigwe, the future of music. You heard it here first. All right, Spirit asking for a message for the collective for this new moon in Sagittarius, solar eclipse. We have kindred spirits. Kindred spirits. I'm always trying to prop this up somewhere. Will that stay, you think? Yeah. Can you see that? Kind of. Kindred spirits. I love this card. I love the message and the energy of this card. Good night, June. See you later. The kindred spirit energy is about the relationships in our lives that are truly do I want to say meant to be? I hesitate to say meant to be because then people get all wrapped up in this soulmate, twin flame stuff, whatever. Our kindred spirits are the people in our lives that are truly made to walk this walk with us. Sometimes it's a person that we have had in our lives forever. And sometimes it's a person that we met yesterday but feels like we've known them forever, or feels like the connection is really instantaneous. Our kindred spirits are people who truly have our best interests at heart, really put us first when it's appropriate, and are there for us on a really deep level. They really complete our puzzle in a lot of ways, and when this card comes up, it's telling us that it's time to perhaps reevaluate those relationships and to ask yourself who your kindred spirits really are. There are people in your life that you have kept with you in your life out of comfort, out of familiarity, out of habit, maybe even out of fear. You might be afraid to let somebody go because you're afraid to be on your own, navigate on your own. And this energy is asking us to reevaluate those relationships and really say to yourself, is this person really a good spirit? Is this somebody who brings out the best in me, wants the best for me, and is really a part of a happy, healthy version of myself and a happy, healthy version of my life? Or am I attached to this person for other reasons? And with this being an eclipse, this is really a good time to reflect on that, to be quiet, to go within yourself, and to really ask yourself those hard-hitting questions, and to be honest with yourself in those hard-hitting ways. Are you connected to certain people because you're afraid to be without them? You're afraid of what people will think about you. You're afraid of what the next step will be. Do you keep certain people in your life just because you're used to them, or it seems easier than getting rid of them? These are really, really hard questions, especially when we're dealing with people that are really close to us, really close family, really close friends. So the eclipse season, or the eclipse moment, is a really good time to sit and really ask yourself those hard questions, so that when the eclipse passes and that energy resurges and comes back, now you can kind of ask yourself, am I ready to let this person go? Or in the reverse, maybe you have met someone who feels like they are the other part of your puzzle, and they really are um, um, truly made for you, or truly in alignment with your greatest good. And this is a good time to sit with that and ask yourself, well, what does that mean? Does that mean then that I am ready to go to the next step with this person? Maybe I want to get serious with them if this is a romantic relationship, or perhaps I want to move in with them. Or maybe this is a family relationship and this is somebody that you have not really put in the effort to stay close with or be there for them the ways that they have been there for you. And giving some thought to that this weekend could really help you to see how you can rectify that, how you can change that, or how you can make that next step to really solidifying and cementing, your relationship with that person. Yeah, Anthony said that the eclipse is good for a spiritual reset, and reverse is keyword for me. Interesting. Yeah, I definitely feel you on the reset. Thank you, Spirit, for that oracle message. We're going to be focusing on our kindred spirits for this reading, our closest, most special relationships, or the relationships that we have maybe been telling ourselves are special, but are really in our lives for other reasons. All right. So these cards basically just play out what we were talking about as usual. This is why we talk about astrology, because the energy comes through in the cards anyway. So it's like we might as well talk about it. But basically, I was asking Spirit, what is it that we need to kind of put a pause on and reset? What is it that we can, use this time of going inward to really focus on? Where are we going afterwards? Because we're talking about travel, we're talking about moving on, and whether that's physical or metaphorically, where are we traveling to? Where are we going? And like, how can we use this energy, or what should we expect for the next couple of weeks? So, starting off with kind of, what are we letting go of, or what do we need to focus in on? We have the Seven of Wands in the reverse. And this is saying to me that we really need to focus in on the effort and the energy that we have been putting into this fight. A lot of us have been fighting to make these relationships last, fighting to make these relationships work. And Spirit already told us with the kindred spirit that we need to revisit these relationships. Why are we putting so much effort and so much energy into making them work when it is so much work? Kindred spirit relationships are not work. And that doesn't mean that we don't need to put effort into our relationships, but they shouldn't feel like you are dragging a bag of rocks up a hill. Kindred spirit relationships are flowing and free and fluid. I just keep feeling like liquidy sensations. They flow together. And yes, there are always going to be challenges, even with the kindred spirit. There are always going to be struggles that come up in life that you need to overcome. But with a kindred spirit, you overcome those things together. You're holding hands and you're able to navigate through those things together, as opposed to obstacles in your life feeling like they're even harder because you're in this relationship. So Seven of Wands is very much adversarial energy. It's very much I'm fighting the good fight. I'm fighting the battle. I'm, doing my very best to stay on top of this hill and keep up the appearance that I'm okay. But in the reverse, it's like, let's think about that. Like, why? Why are we fighting this fight? Is it that important that we be in this relationship? Is it that important that we continue to put in all of this effort and all of this energy when it feels more like pulling teeth than it does, two people really are pushing a cart together? I don't know. I'm making analogies on the fly here. But is it, like a partnership or a relationship? And this can be romantic, like I said, but it also could be a family relationship. It can be a professional relationship. Some of you are dealing with professional relationships that don't feel like they really are clicking, but you're trying to make it work because you feel like, well, this person is really good at X, Y, and Z, or maybe this person is the investor and they've got all the money and I'm the operations person. And if I end this relationship, where am I going to get the finances to keep this business running? But you've got to ask yourself, are you in this relationship because you're fearful? Because that's what's coming through here, is that you are afraid to give it up, or there are outside influences that are causing you to continue to fight, and the fight is not the best thing for you. Can this be with a child too? Of course, absolutely. Every single person here is going to have a different relationship that this resonates with. So when you get that feeling that like Spirit is talking to me with that message, that is what it is for. That is your personal conversation that is happening. So that's a good question, Joey, actually, to help people with watching collective readings. Whenever you are watching collective readings, always keep that in mind, that this is a reading for the collective energy, for all the folks that are in here and that are watching. What stirs inside of you is how the message relates to you specifically. And that's the most important thing for you to take from that. So it can absolutely be with a child. You are fighting, you are trying to make this relationship work. You might have a parent that you are trying to make a relationship work with because you feel like, well, this is my child, or well, this is my parent. I can't not have this relationship with them. But is that person a kindred spirit? Are they really walking in alignment with you and your greatest good? And that's a really, really, really hard thing to ask yourself when we're talking about these types of relationships. Our parent, our own child, like, that's huge to consider that you might need distance from somebody as close as a parent or a child. But Spirit is saying you need to reevaluate these relationships. And this weekend would be a really good time to sit and do that, because some travel, some time away, whether it's physically or, like spiritually, like, I'm distancing myself, might be exactly what you need. For each of you, that's going to be different, but now would be a good time to really give that some hard thought, okay? Because the energy coming through here as we're coming into this eclipse is saying, we have been fighting, and what are we fighting for? What are we fighting for? We need to reevaluate and reconsider why we are fighting for this relationship, when ultimately it may not be the best for you. Okay. Moving into what we want to be focusing on and what we want to be thinking about, I think it's so interesting that the card that comes up for us is one that is all about literally the head, literally about our mind and our thoughts. And we have here the Five of Wands, and I love the image on the Five of Wands with the Medusa. Medusa is so misunderstood. You got to read up on her story if you don't know Medusa's story. So misunderstood. She gets a really bad rap. Okay. But the energy that's coming through with this is about getting up in here and breaking down some of those walls. There are walls that have been built up where you feel like things are the way they are and they cannot be any different. It's really hard for you to see how you could be without this person, or how the nature of your relationship with this person could change. And I just heard situation too. So it's like, for some of us, this is specifically a person. I think for a lot of us, it's specifically a person, but it can also be a situation that involves multiple people. So this could be like a whole household, a whole family situation, or it could be a job situation where you have a whole crew, a whole clique. You might have a clique at work that you've been really fighting to be a part of, really trying to be a part of. And the question is, why are we fighting so much? We need to reevaluate these relationships that we're trying to, be a part of. And we need to think about the things that we have cemented in stone in our lives, because this is all fighting energy. Seven of Wands reverse, Five of Wands. This is all fighting. And it just feels like, what are we fighting for? I don't understand. Like it's like hitting up against a wall and trying to make something happen, trying to get to a point where you like feel really at peace and really like you fit in, or really like this relationship is good for you. And it's just not happening. Like it's not coming. It's not materializing that feeling that you want to have. And you're so set on making this happen. You are so committed. I just saw, how like mobsters back in the day where they put you in cement shoes and drop you in the river. That's how I feel. Like a lot of us are feeling like we're in cement shoes. Like we just put our foot down and said, I'm going to make this relationship work. And Spirit's like, why? Like, why? Like, really look at the situation and ask yourself, is this really, truly the best environment for you? Are these people really your kindred spirits? Is this situation really one that is in alignment with not the good that you can think of today, but your greatest good? Can you really accomplish all the things you want to accomplish, travel, do all the things that you really want to do in this situation or being linked up with this person? And the feeling feels like no, but again, that part will be individual to a lot of you, but for a lot of you it's going to be a no. And I feel that it's going to be a no because we have the Three of Swords here coming up. When I asked about when this eclipse is over, where are we moving, where are we going after this eclipse is over? And this is an end. It's an emotional end and it's a mental end. It's coming to the realization that the best way through this situation is out of it. We're going to come to the realization that a lot of the partnerships and environments or situations that we are in with people that maybe at one point were really lovely are not the case, and they need to move forward. And I was just like directed to focus on the butterfly in this card and the nature of transformation in this energy. So for a lot of us, it's going to be just cutting things off and needing to just completely cut the cords. I love that this card has all these, I don't know if you can see that, can you see that? All the cords attached to the swords and wrapped around the heart. For a lot of us, it's going to be cord cutting. So I know everybody's always like, I want to cast spells. So cord cutting might be something that you do after the eclipse is over, after you've had the time to really focus in on this, reconsider this relationship, think about it, um, make peace with the decision that needs to be made. And then if you are lining yourself up to be doing some casting, for some of us, it's going to be a cord cutting. That's going to be the most useful spell for you. So basic cord cutting typically involves 2 figure candles tied with some type of rope or cord string, and lighting those candles, or even lighting a candle in between those and letting those cords eventually get burnt off and burnt away. So cord cutting casting might be something that is really helpful for you to really sever those emotional ties that you have to people now that you've given yourself the opportunity to really accept that there's nothing but conflict in this situation going forward, and that this relationship is not in alignment with your greatest good, with you really living, the happy, healthy you that you want. I asked, where are we traveling to? Where are we going? And that's where we're going, to the end of things. But there was a reminder, like I said, of the transformation coming up as well. For some of us, we're going to need to transform the nature of the relationship. So I think Joey asked about, could this be with a child and things like that. You might be in a situation where you can't just cut somebody off, and where even after really careful reflection and really taking this time to evaluate this relationship, you don't want to. That might be the case too. You might come to the realization that, like, even though this relationship is not a kindred spirit relationship, this person is not, like, what do they say, equally yoked with me, this person's not on the same wavelength, we are not really able to we are not going to be able to, like, create this pretty picture that I've been hoping for. You might just still decide, like, I don't want to end this relationship. I don't want to not have any communication or any type of contact with this person, in which case, for those of you who feel that way, transforming the nature of the relationship is going to be the right avenue for you. Reevaluating how you guys are together and transforming it into something else. I just heard friendships, so maybe going from romantic partnership to a friendship, and realizing that as a romantic relationship, that's not the right space for you or the other person, and we need to transform the relationship into something else, Unbound prophetess. Oh, wow. Yeah, so Unbound Prophetess is talking about reliving, going through this exact same situation last year and kind of revisiting it this year, which I think is very interesting because I feel like, have you guys been watching that show Dark on Netflix? It's this German show about time travel. Oh my God, if anybody is watching it, let me know in the comments. If you are not watching it, holy crap, tune into it. I don't really watch a lot of TV, so I never know anything about shows that are going on. So I don't know if this is a popular show or anything like that, but my husband's watching it, and I got caught up watching it with him. Holy crap. It is mind bending. The concept of time and how it like folds in on itself. And that's crazy that you mentioned that because it's very much like things that I have been thinking about lately about time and how it's a cycle and it's kind of a loop and it kind of replays itself over and over, and past things that have gone on in our lives keep coming back around, and it's almost like the universe has it on a loop for us so that we can kind of figure out, like, did we learn from the last time, or what have we learned from the last time? Are we going to make the same mistake the last time we were in a situation just like this, or the last time we saw this pattern in our lives? So that is very, very interesting. Yeah, so for some of us, for a lot of us, it is going to be realizing that these relationships are not for us. And the best thing that we can do when the eclipse is over is cord cutting rituals, cord cutting baths. That might be your cleansing bath, a black walnut bath to cut the emotional ties that you have to someone in your life that you're coming to the realization is more of a fight to be with than you should be putting in. For some of us, it'll be less severe and it will be more of a transformation of that relationship. So if you are looking to cast at the end of the eclipse, it might be something more like a change the energy type of working, where you work on yourself or even work on the person to change the nature of the relationship between you. And then I wanted to know, like, what is the best, like, where will we be traveling to, or like, what should we be manifesting when the eclipse is over? So we have the Three of Swords here, letting us know that we'll be letting go of these relationships and cutting them off. It is a period of loss, essentially, that we are walking into, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a period of heartbreak. And like sadness, because it's a conscious decision that we're making to end these relationships for our own betterment. So there's sadness here, but it kind of feels almost like stagnant. I keep going back to the Medusa and this feeling of stone. So it kind of feels like leaving these relationships behind is something that you've already in a way made peace with, and you've already knew that it was going to come to this point. It's just a matter of actually like doing it and like ripping the band-aid off. And that's the hardest part. But once you do, you'll realize that the wound underneath has already started to scab over. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good analogy. It's like ripping off the band-aid, but realizing that the scar underneath, or the wound underneath, has already started to scab over. It's already started to heal. And you didn't even realize that necessarily because you were trying to put band-aids on it. But now that we're ripping those off and facing what the truth of the situation is, you have already begun the process of healing and moving forward. And we see that reflected here with the final card in the Fool. And the Fool is very much moving forward and moving on to a new environment, a new relationship, a new, not even relationship, because it's more of like a lone energy. It's not like going from one relationship to the next. It's more of like freeing yourself from the one that you're in so that you can be totally independent and totally moving forward according to the beat of your own drum. And the Fool has already started to to move forward. You know what I mean? It's definitely a feeling of there's fear there and anxiety and a whole heck of a lot of uncertainty, complete uncertainty. The Fool has no idea even what the next step is going to bring them. Are they going to be on solid ground, or are they going to completely just go off the cliff? No idea. But the Fool is very much resolved to taking this journey. So interesting that this new moon is in Sagittarius and we have the Fool, because we're talking about the energy of traveling and moving on to other pastures, moving on from whatever the situation that is not a kindred relationship ever or anymore. The Fool packs light. So there's a lot of letting go that has already been done, a lot of baggage that has already been put to the side. And the Fool has accepted that, like, look, I don't have everything. I don't have everything figured out. I don't know where I'm going. I don't necessarily have all the tools that I would want to for going on this hike. I don't have every item that could make this journey as comfortable, easy as possible. There's going to be some struggle here potentially. There's going to be some moments of going without and going with less and having less, but the journey needs to be taken. And Sagittarius energy is wonderful energy for traveling and taking that journey. And if you've been looking for the strength and the guts and the courage to take that journey and move on from this situation, Sagittarius energy can definitely do that for you. So I would spend the eclipse getting your little sack together. You see your little sack? See that? Is it too bright? I think you can see her little sack. I don't know. Maybe if I do the hand thing, does that work? You know how makeup people, Joey, you probably do this all the time, the hand thing? How come it never works for me? Literally, I do this all the time, then I look dumb because I'm just holding my hand there. It never actually does anything. Is it supposed to do something? Anyway, she's got a sack. She's got a sack on the end of her stick, and it's a very small one, okay? There's not much in there, and it's very clear that you can't take everything with you. And this weekend would be a really good time to reflect on what are the most important things that need to go with you on this journey. What do you have to take with you? This could be physical items if you are in fact traveling, but this could also be more, mental and emotional things. It might be lessons that you've learned. It might be resources that you have gathered, information that you have gotten from people or from sources that have kind of laid the groundwork for, the basic fundamentals of what will get you going on this journey. But if you are waiting to have the whole trip really nicely laid out for you and have complete certainty about what your next step is going to be, that is not coming. That energy is not here at all. There is no savior here. There is no here's $1 million so you can move out on your own without any worries. There is no here are all the answers. There's none of that here. This is very much a very singular and independent process that you are going to have to go through of just deciding that you're going to take this journey and know that your ancestors, your guides, and your guardians are there. They are there for you. They will be there for you when you call on them. They will do their best in whatever way they can manipulate the physical world to help you. The rest is up to you. The rest is up to you. Know and trust and have faith that where you are going to end up is far better than where you are right now. But if you don't move, then we're just here. Fighting, feet stuck in the cement, being weighed down. Anthony says, I saw a video, Greeks would use Medusa to scare children from danger or shield for protection. The whole Medusa story is so fascinating. So fascinating. I would want her to be my homie, quite frankly. I would be like, yes, look that way, bitch. But yes, let's be friends. You know? Or does she only turn men to stone? I think she only turns men to stone, right? So like, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. So yes, let's move into the support card. So if you are just joining us and do not know, we will pull one more card from a support deck to figure out how to support ourselves, because it seems like a lot of us are going to be making some really big decisions about people who are very close to us and very important to us. So being that that is the case, and we might be needing to let go of some relationships or sever or transform the nature of some relationships, how can we be supported in that effort? And there are 4 decks to choose from. So if you are able to see the chat, then you may be able to see the poll at the top of the chat. And it looks like the Herb Crafters. Yes. I'm biased, but yes, I haven't pulled from that deck in a long time. And I really feel like that would be helpful, especially because I'm in like super herb mode, restocking the shop tonight. So it's just going to be me and all the herbs tonight coming together to make all of my beautiful blends. So I'm very much in herb mode. And I feel like what's going on is something that could really be supported by the herbs. We were talking a lot about how do we protect ourselves? How do we cleanse ourselves? How do we, I mentioned black walnut for cutting cords and for releasing attachments and things like that. So I really think an herb would be great. But last second to vote on the poll, and then I'm going to end it. 5, 4, 3, 2, ending the poll. Bam. All right, now let's see what YouTube says, because it likes to mess with the decks. Yes, it's the Herb Crafters. 38 votes and 34% says Herb Crafter deck. So let's, where is it? Do I have it in my box? Oh, it's in the box. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. This is the Herb Crafters Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert and Letitia Guthrie. If you are not new around here, then you know this deck very well. It's one of my favorites for choosing herbs to work with, to make teas from, to make baths from. It's so beautiful to be able to speak directly to the herb energy world and ask them to step forward and let us know which one of them wants to support us, wants to help us out. If you are interested in this deck or any of the decks that you saw me use, you can get them all, for the most part, on my Amazon storefront. So go to bronxwitch.com and click on discounts. And on that page, you will see my Amazon storefront. And I think a few of you have gotten this deck and also really love it. It's so smart. It's like, yes, an herb deck. Yes, yes. So, asking Spirit for an herb, reaching out to the herb world, to all of our herb decks, and asking one of them to step forward to help support us on this journey of reevaluating our kindred spirits, reevaluating our closest, most precious relationships. What herb can support us as we transform or end these relationships? We have the curandera of Fire, which relates to Damiana. I love Damiana. Diffuser Ternissa, something like that. It's a Latin name. I love Damiana. Damiana is so sexy and very like arousing. This relates to the Queen, I believe, of Wands in the regular tarot deck. This is the curandera of fire. No, the King of Wands. Excuse me, the King of Wands in the tarot deck. And here is just so beautiful. I'm gonna try to show it to you guys. We have these hands of this wise older woman with her cowrie shells on and her burning cauldron, and it looks like she's burning the Damiana instead of like drinking it. You can definitely drink it. I like to smoke my Damiana, so it's in my Doing It smoke blend along with patchouli and some flowers, and it's a very sexy and sensual type of flower. It's got like this, it's hard to explain the smell and the scent of it. If you like patchouli, then you'll definitely like Damiana. It's very earthy, very sexy, very ancient smelling. Ternera diffusa. Oh, I was right. Okay. Ternera diffusa is the botanical name for Damiana. And if you remember how we do the herb crafters, I'll read a little bit about what the authors feel you should take from Damiana energy and how it can support us. And then there are 3 affirmations that they include, or 3 phrases which I use like affirmation. So these are things that you can say while you drink your Damiana or while you smoke your Damiana or bathe with your Damiana, and how you can channel that energy. And the affirmations are really useful, especially if you don't have this herb. So if you don't happen to have her on the shelf like I do, you can use these affirmations to call this energy into whatever it is you're doing this weekend anyway. Okay? So the curandera of fire defies conventional norms. She remains whole unto herself, wild and free. Wild and free. She is a champion of female sexual power. She understands the importance of self-love rituals. Just as Damiana ignites passion, she ignites the power of human desire and welcomes sensuality of all kinds. She knows a passionate life comes from living what you love. Thus, she honors her creative cauldron with luxurious ceremony. She says, delight in yourself. People are drawn to her vivacious personality. Her counsel brings pleasure and inspires direct action. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is so beautiful, and I am so grateful that Damiana would step forward to lend us support here, because this is exactly the energy that we need to get through this. We need that powerful divine feminine, and it doesn't matter what your gender identification is. The powerful divine feminine, that energy that Damiana brings, will help anyone recognize that they are whole unto themselves, that they are all that they need, that they do not need the crutch of this relationship or this situation. They do not need this other person to complete them, to support them, to make them feel valuable. Damiana is there to help support us and help us to channel that feeling for ourselves, so that you do not need to rely on these relationships that are ultimately not bringing the best of you, bringing out the best of you. So there's a couple of things that you can do to craft with Damiana if you have it. Like in the card, you can burn it as an incense. It has a very interesting smell. It's not like light flowers. It's a very heavy smell. So I would mix it with some lighter fragrances, just so that it's a little bit more enjoyable. It would be nice to mix with an uplifting resin like copal. It would also be nice to mix with a resin that also calls on that divine feminine powerful energy like dragon's blood. I would mix it with some dragon's blood and burn that. And really step into that divine feminine energy that is whole unto herself. You can build a self-love altar and use the flower on your altar. And you can make a Damiana chocolate liqueur. Ooh, exciting. So you might want to mix Damiana in with your chocolate. Or, ooh, I have chocolate mint for my smoke blends. I might mix some Damiana with some chocolate mint and smoke that and channel that energy and let all that good love on myself energy come through so that I can gather the strength that I need to make these moves and make these changes in my relationships. I like that. For those of us who don't have Damiana or who just want to add some spoken words into anything that we're doing with the Damiana this weekend, there are 3 here. I think Mariah is still here. No pressure, Mariah, to be our royal scribe, but typically Mariah does a really good job of catching these things and writing it down for us. Anyone else can do that, and I definitely recommend, if you are taking notes on the reading, to jot these down. So there are 3 statements that you can repeat to yourself, write on a postcard, put it up on your mirror as this eclipse new moon in Sagittarius happens. Love yourself. Old ain't dead. That's 1. Love yourself. Old ain't dead. Oh, nice. It came back. Perfect. Okay, well, I'm sorry that there was a traffic jam, but I am glad that you were back. So the first one is love yourself, old ain't dead. 2, indulge yourself with sensual bliss. Indulge yourself with sensual bliss. And 3, come home to power, pleasure, and passion. Come home to power, pleasure, and passion. Yay. Yes, Mariah's got it in the comments, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. For those of you who are writing it down and want to jot it down in case you want to incorporate these words into any rituals that you do with Damiana this weekend, any channeling that you do with this herb, if you include her in your tea, if you burn her as an incense, if you smoke her with other herbs, definitely. I love all 3 of those too. I think all 3 of those are very, very helpful for this particular energy. But I'm just so happy that Damiana would step forward, because it makes perfect sense for the energy that we are going through, that we need that type of support. We need that type of energy of feeling totally complete yourself, being a kindred spirit. Like, I hate, personally, I am not a fan of that. Mariah, YouTube blocked your comment because you said lube. And Josie said, I'm glad old ain't dead. You damn right, old ain't dead. Yes, buy good lube. Good lube is important no matter what moon phase we're in, I would say. But I really do not like that phrase, what is it? My better half, or like my other half. Or like this person completes me. I really don't like those phrases at all. I think they are so toxic as an energy. Like, you are not a half a person, and you are not a half a person because you are in a relationship. None of us need another person to complete us at all. None of us need another person to complete us. We are each whole individuals. And when 2 people or a group of people come together, we are whole individuals coming together. And where we run into trouble, I think, is when we are not whole individuals and we are a half a person. And we are relying on somebody else to provide us with our happiness, or provide us with our support, or provide us with whatever it is that we feel that we don't have on our own. And that's dangerous, I think. I think that's toxic. And I think that leads a lot of us to stay in relationships for us because we feel like we can't be complete and whole and stand on our own 2 feet without that other person. And yeah, I'm just really, really grateful that Damiana is here to remind us that no, each and every one of us is a whole and complete person. If you are a man in a relationship with a female or with anybody, she is standing up to say, let me remind you that you have both going on. You are divine masculine and you are divine feminine, and you don't need another human being to provide that for you. You are that. And you just need to recognize it and let that part of yourself really stand tall and really grow and really nurture that part of yourself. And you can nurture that part of yourself with Damiana. This moon says giving me a boost for my spicy content I sell. Ooh, you sell spicy content? Drop your info so we can check it out. Where you sell your spicy content? I'm all like, ooh, and she's gonna be like, I sell peppers. I sell chili peppers. But no, like, let us know. You know what I mean? We're all a bunch of nosy looky-loos. We'll come check out your spicy content while we smoke on our Damiana and burn our Damiana incense and get all sensual and feel goods about ourselves. Yes. Well, then my earrings are so perfect for that. Yes. These earrings are very Damiana. Yes. Sensual feminine energy. I don't need nobody else. I don't need no man. I love that. Awesome. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, guides, guardians. Thank you for those clear, clear messages. Thank you for pointing out this path for us and helping us to see how we can use this new moon in Sagittarius, this solar eclipse energy, to get ourselves ready for these transformations and these endings that we are choosing to go through as we move forward. And thank you, Damiana, for stepping forward to support us in this journey. Bless. Yes. Oh, peppers. Red lipstick and eyeshadows named Damiana. Ooh, that'd be cool for the cosmetic makers out there. For sure. Wow, yeah. Dang, I appreciate that. I am so, I'm taking my Damiana home with me tonight. Yes. I think I'm going to be smoking that Damiana this weekend. And like I said, I'm waiting for the end of the eclipse to do anything, but it sounds like a cleansing bath with Damiana at the end of this eclipse weekend is in my future. So, yes. Maybe Sunday morning. That might be really nice. Yeah, all right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading. This was really, really powerful, and I pray that it resonated with every single one of you in some way, that you take the messages from this that connect with you and your life, and you're able to take full advantage of this new moon in Sagittarius energy. So remember to check out the description of this video. It has links to lots of information, including my Amazon store where you can get these cards, and to my website, bronxwitch.com, where you can book a private reading with me if you want to go in depth for all of this stuff in your personal life. And definitely make sure to check it out, because you can come and have in-person here at BronxWitch HQ. Yes, let's do this in person. Love it. Anthony had a long conversation about self-love and sex at work today. Yes, you were already on point with this reading. You were ready. Self-love. Damiana is all about it. Get you some. Get you some. Be careful, Damiana might get you pregnant. Definitely. We're supposed to be ending relationships, guys. Yes. Bye, Betty. Have a great weekend. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. You know where to find me if you have questions or things of that nature, bronxwitch.com. You can email me, Ali at BronxWitch, and I will see you guys next time. We'll be doing this again on the full moon, which I believe is on the 18th. So stay tuned for posts about that live. And yeah, many blessings. And I'm looking forward to hearing back from you guys about how this all played out for this moon phase. You know, what relationships do we have to reevaluate and maybe end? So, and I'm with you. I'm with you. Nothing is sexier than a woman who loves herself. I agree with you there. I agree with you there. All right, guys, have a beautiful and blessed evening. I will see all of you in the next one. Blessed be.